Wednesday. Tomorrow will be officially called Bad Wednesday. Let me tell you why. On Wednesday, the 29th of April, the year 2009, the world will sink to a new level of evil. In New York City's Union Square, there will be an unveiling of a painting depicting Barack Hussein Obama as the Christ Messiah. The painting, entitled The Truth, done by artist Michael D. Antonio, is a 30 by 54 acrylic painting with Obama appearing much like Jesus Christ did on the cross of Calvary. Unlike Good Friday, when sin was covered with the blood of Jesus, this Wednesday, evil will be put on display for all to worship. This is blasphemy, and it shall not stand. I'm asking all Americans and Christians to pray and fast on Wednesday, the 29th of April, 2009, that America will wake up and see how evil has taken control of our land. Please join me, James David Manning, and millions around the world pray to remove this evil from the church and the world. Sin and evil is now being put on display, and worship will follow.
A New York artist by the name of Michael D'Antuono has created a painting called The Truth, and it is depicting Obama in a certain way. And when the announcement hit the press, the flack that this guy got for this painting was so intense and so large that he chose to, instead of unveiling the painting in Union Square in a voting booth today, on the 100th day of Obama's administration, he is going to do it here. Now, as I said, this was supposed to happen outside, but there was so much bad. There was email flack. There was some protests planned. I mean, this guy got a lot of shit for what he was about to do, and he chose not to do it. And we'll talk to him in just a second. You know what? Let's talk to him now. Please welcome to the show, Michael D'Antuono. Nice to see you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
Now, let me understand correctly. You put out an announcement that you were going to unveil this painting in Union Square as a presentation to honor Obama's 100th day in office, and they showed an image of your painting in the paper, and you started getting the emails.
Yeah.
How many did you get?
I got over 3,000 so far.
3,000 emails.
Yeah, and they're streaming in, but I did invite people's reactions,
right,
too, on my website.
Now, what was the tone of most of the emails?
Well, that's just it. That's the reason why I canceled the event today, is because the overwhelming 98% were very upset on a religious level, and they were, calling it blasphemy. And I mean, I don't apologize for showing it, creating it, and showing it, but I really didn't mean to disrespect people's religion. It's meant as a political piece.
Right, but now let me ask you just the first question comes to my mind. Why didn't you do it anyway?
Well, out of respect, because thousands of emails, you get lots of different opinions.
Were you afraid that they were going to show up and protest you?
I'm sure they were going to show up. And I mean, when we canceled it, the Parks Department said they were bombarded with requests and demands that I not be allowed to show it.
So your personal email was bombarded and the Parks Department was bombarded?
Yes.
That is unbelievable, the way that certain religious organizations so immediately can come together and be closed-minded at the same time.
I mean, people have asked, is he being crucified by the right?
Right.
Or is it making fun of the people who feel that he's our savior,
right?
And he's gonna save our country? I mean, is it satire or not? I'm not saying. I'm not.
You're not going to tell me what your intention?
I'm sorry. No, not today. No. But because the whole point is really it's not about Barack, and it's certainly. Well, it's not comparing him to Jesus literally at all. And I'm not
the first to do that.
I'm not doing it.
But I think that the
what
piece
it
calls for that.
is that it's about the reaction, and I had anticipated the reaction to be about many other things, but the people who only wrote in on a religious basis, calling it blasphemy.
And saying, like, what else? You're going to go to hell? How could you?
Absolutely. I mean, 90% of them...
Calling you names.
Yeah, yes.
Well, it's interesting because it's provocative to a degree, and the more I look at it and the more I think about it, I mean, the idea that this president, in my mind, the only thing that it resonates to me in terms of using the religious metaphor is that this guy came in with the country in such a condition that all odds were stacked against him, despite the Republicans. So on some level, he is bearing the burden of a fairly, a totally reprehensible administration that bankrupt this country. So on the level of that, in honoring Obama by portraying him as a Jesus-like figure who has to carry the cross of the mistakes that came before him, I can see that, and that's the way I'll choose to read it.
And it's a valid interpretation, but there are many. It's not the only interpretation.
Yeah, in terms of the Republicans crucifying him, it's too early to tell. They're trying, but it ain't sticking.
Right.
And in terms of like the show business element, that the curtains, the way he's holding the curtains, because at first I thought like, well, is he really being crucified? I haven't seen any reality of that yet. But I do like there's a certain pride. It's not quite a crucified stature. It's a little higher in my mind, and because he's got the curtains, it seems that he's willing to, he's up for the task of carrying the burden of the mistakes that were made before him, and he has some humility. See, on some level, as opposed to interpret this as some sort of blasphemy, which I think on some people, because it's Barack Obama and not Jesus, they're going to interpret that like that. Why don't they look at it as something honoring the idea of Jesus?
I wonder why not. That's a very good question. Why my email wasn't more balanced? And I mean, there's 1,000 interpretations you could have from this, and why 90.
What were some of the good emails you got?
Well, people understood, had other interpretations where he's lifting the black veil over the presidency, where he's creating transparency in government. Other people said that maybe he's closing the curtain and he's governing all by himself, shutting out, the conservatives.
So people went to town with it.
Oh, there's many other. They noticed that he had a smirk, and they thought, what's that about? He's being crucified, but he wants to be.
I'll tell you one thing about using religious iconography in contemporary pieces of art is that you'll get people that usually would never look at art to lock right in and start to read it the way they want to read it. So I think that the controversy around it is certainly going to bring more people to it, because I guarantee you 99% of the people that wrote you negative emails have never been to the Museum of Modern Art.
I don't know. I didn't ask them that.
No, but I mean, I'm just willing to wager.
Well, it could be.
That reaction on the level that you get like this are not from people that have any real notion or understanding of art, but people that just react to the idea that their God is being made fun of.
That's the first thing that came to those people who wrote me. I'm sure that there are at least an equal amount of people who had other ideas and other interpretations, and I heard from them later.
Have you done this type of art before? Have you ever done a quote-unquote controversial piece of art?
No, I haven't been a controversial artist at all. I just see the great political divide in this country, and it upsets me. And I think it's largely manipulated by the media. I think our views are based on where we get our news. And,
well, I'll tell you what you ended up doing is you ended up upsetting the people that are going to be upset no matter what, whether Obama does anything good or not. I think that most of the people that probably had a negative reaction to this are not Obama fans.
And that's the point of the painting they weren't. And that's the point of the painting that you're bringing to, it's what you bring to the painting. Right. It's not what I'm saying. It's what you're prejudiced by your political views of what you see in this painting. And I was proven right by the reaction to a large degree.
See, I'm the kind of guy, like I say, push it even further. I'm sort of sad it's not made out of elephant poop or floating in pee.
Well, that's messy to work with. It is.
Well, I certainly, Michael D'Antuono, I really want to thank you for sharing this and letting us, witness the event that is not being witnessed in a public park. And where can people see the painting? Do you have a website or something that they can go to?
Well, I do. Well, it's all over the internet. It's the most downloaded.
Glenn Beck.
Where can you not see it?
I wish we had that Glenn Beck footage, because I hate him, and I wish I would have heard what he had to say. Be honest. I hate him more than you can even imagine.
Just say what you feel.
I'd like to see him crucified without the religious symbolism.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I don't understand. I read something where you said that this was, you didn't mean to image him as Christ.
No, I do not think he's Christ. I was not trying to convey that. Actually, this painting does not convey my own personal opinions. It's more of a mirror reflecting the personal opinions and prejudices, preconceived ideas of the viewer. And it's a kind of a sociological experiment.
I don't buy that bullcrap. Come on. I mean, look, I have no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem. If you meant this, you didn't mean it, I have no problem. If you're just trying to make money, you're not trying to make money. I don't really care.
It's not for sale.
Right, I know. So, and that really struck me, and I find that strangely odd, and I want to get to that afterwards. But I want to ask you, how do you not say that this is an image of Christ? He's splitting the veil. You know that, right? Or are these just curtains?
Well, there's so many interpretations of that, but the curtains, I mean, it could be creating transparency under
and
government.
This is not a crucifixion?
It could be. Jesus wasn't the only one crucified either.
Crown of thorns would be
Crown
Jesus.
of thorns, well, could be. But I'm not comparing him to Jesus. I'm not saying he's just. No,
come on.
I'm a very honest guy.
No, you're not. You had no idea that that was a Jesus reference, or that would be interpreted.
Oh, I see the religious reference. Absolutely. That I took a bunch of things that were associated with Obama at the time, and I put them in there.
Okay, so tell me what you're trying to say with this.
Well, that metaphorically he was being crucified by the right. Okay, if he says the sky's blue, they're going to say it's red, and blue is a communist color anyway. I mean, if he likes puppies, they're going to say, well, he hates kittens. So he was being crucified no matter what he did. That way. Also,
would you think that you would ever paint something of me that I am crucified by the left?
Well, I haven't given that any
haven't
consideration.
Given okay, all right, good.
But also, remember, it was McCain who called him the one, because he was adulated by so many people.
You also have the editor-in-chief of Newsweek magazine saying that he is above everyone else. He is almost a godlike figure. This imagery has happened from the left repeatedly. Mm-hmm. So
they like him.
Who, the left?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of them deify him. You had, what's his name over the weekend, Jamie Foxx. You know, you can say that that was a joke, but that came from someplace.
Right.
It is with some deifying him. Are you telling me that you've never noticed the halos that they put around him in the shots, where they make him look like the seal looks like a halo? You've never noticed that as an artist?
Well, I kind of did that, but I haven't noticed anyone else.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Have I ever lied to you?
I don't have enough fingers to count on this. On this episode, I mean, honestly, when we were talking in the green room, I thought we would have more in common, because I thought you would be honest. And if you're trying to pull off that you didn't intentionally try to make this a crucifixion of Jesus Christ, I don't
it's a crucifixion of Obama. Okay, this is art. This is art. You have to understand the difference between. This is not a photograph of what actually happened.
Obama on display at Bunker Hill Community College is getting a lot of attention. This painting right here is called The Truth, and it has a lot of people talking. The artist behind it says this is his example of freedom of speech, but others are calling it offensive. The artist explains on his website that he was inspired to paint this after watching conflicting reports on the same issues on different cable newscasts and the effect they had on their viewers, believing people's perceptions of the issues seemed to get distorted through their political lenses. And joining us from New York City to talk about his painting, the artist behind The Truth, Michael D'Antuono. Michael, you created this painting some 4 years ago, planned to unveil it in '09 on President Barack Obama's 100th day in office. What was your vision here?
Well, my vision was to show the installation and have people see the piece one at a time in the booth, in a mock voting booth, and they would see it, and after they did, they were going to be interviewed, and they could state their opinion.
Right, and in 2009, your original exhibit was set to show in New York City. You canceled that. You told the radio station that 98% of people were very upset on a religious level, even calling it blasphemy. You went on to say you don't apologize for creating it and showing it, but you canceled that showing. Why show it now?
Well, because I felt it was a mistake to cancel it in the first place. I acquiesced to the demands of my family for my own safety to cancel it. And I did, but I felt bad about it right away. I think, you know, First Amendment rights in this country is a wonderful thing, and we should all be proud of that and be able to have it. You know, they're allowed to not like it. They're allowed to not go and look at it. If it offends you, and I'm sorry if it does, then don't go to the exhibit and let other people see it. I mean, if some people, a lot of people do want to see it, and that should also be their right.
We have your painting up on our Facebook page. It's also our poll question asking viewers, is this art? Is it offensive? Overwhelming response. About 80% think this is offensive. What kind of feedback are you getting?
That sounds about right. Of course, people, people do seem to communicate more when they're angry or offended. So I don't know how accurate that is. I mean, 1,000 people or more, thousands of people actually, I read, saw the painting at the exhibit, and there were no complaints. It's been on since October 31st, and there have been no complaints. When I went to the opening, nobody discussed it any more than the other paintings.
I'm going to wrap things up in a moment, but I want to get your opinion on this. As an artist, isn't art meant to be open to interpretation? Good, bad, or indifferent?
Absolutely. If you are offended, if you don't like it, well, then the art brought something out in you, and that's the purpose of art, not to necessarily offend, maybe to make you happy, make you think. And that's what my art does. It's meant to make people think more seriously about serious issues and to maybe do something about it.
Again, the truth is on display. Bunker Hill Community College in Charlestown now until December 15th. Artist Michael D'Antuono, appreciate your time today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
One could say it is a form of expression, freedom of speech, art. But inside the art gallery at Bunker Hill Community College in Boston,
President Obama opening curtains.
It's the corner painting raising eyebrows,
With the presidential seal behind him.
Even offending some.
Wearing his suit, the American flag, and a crown of thorns.
With his arms outstretched, the president presented in a controversial holy light.
In a way, does disrespect people's culture and religion.
In a similar position as a crucified Christ on the cross.
Obviously, he's not Jesus. I mean, nobody's Jesus, but the Beatles compared themselves to Jesus as well.
The painting is part of a political exhibit called Artist on the Stump, The Road to the White House 2012. It hangs amongst others with a political punch. The president as Uncle Sam, Governor Romney and Congressman Ryan sitting with the big oil companies, and a depiction of the cost of democracy.
We like to have artwork that communicates a concept of some sort. And we also have artwork that is deliberately supposed to provoke discussion.
College officials tell Fox 25 some of the pieces feature students' work, others from artists out of town. This one by New Yorker Michael D'Antuono is not sitting quietly.
I mean, and I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a negative thing or a positive thing.
That was probably the artist's point, was to point out how Obama is crucified a lot and compare it.
But critics don't approve. This form of expression, they say, likening the president to a higher power is an over-exaggeration and an undeserving pedestal.
I'm really reserved, kind of, but this is kind of offensive.
Comments left in the guest book are positive. Great exhibit, provocative, love it. But more than spreading that love, it's sparking a debate and a mixture of interpretations. Exactly what the college intended.
If this particular exhibit got people thinking and got people discussing, then it is successful.
In Boston, Nicole Jacobs, Fox News.